Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by The College Experience. Get ready for the college football season by checking out all 131 college football team previews. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFB. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I'm coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast corner of England. Today is August the 22nd, Monday, and we are here to preview a full slate of games for Tuesday, August the 23rd. And a couple of co-hosts with me tonight, as ever. First off is the machine, sports nerd 824 himself from Houston, Texas, Mr. Munaf Manji. Munaf, what's happening?
Hi, what's going on, Malcolm? New week. I think we all had a pretty great week last week as far as betting on the diamond. So hopefully we can carry that momentum into this new starting week. I know my lock today didn't get off to a great start just because Tony La Russa is an idiot, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, we've got some my lock. Is it my dog actually is live as we speak in a tied game, so we might have some live updates on that one. But I'll introduce my other co-host. Two is young Mr. Noah Bennick. Noah, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well, Malcolm. Maybe not as good as you yesterday. I mean, how did that feel? Almost dying over there, though.
I know. Yeah, you've talked about your allergies, but mine are playing up. So yeah, I'm a little bit wheezy. I'll be all right. Are you talking about the football? No, the Premier League game.
Yeah, that place that you just pretty much got lost at yesterday. How about that,
mate? What a game! That, I mean, I don't know how many EPL followers we have on the show. I know Munaf follows as well.
We talk about it almost every podcast, right?
Yeah. But what? It was just an unbelievably great game of football to witness, regardless of who you support, who you didn't support, who you wanted to win. And the outcome was completely wrong. It was a magnificent game of football. And then the fact that I had a dog in the fight, I had 4 pints of cider before I got into the ground. The place was absolutely jumping. The roof was bouncing off the place. We come back from 1-0 down to lead 3-1. It was just brilliant. It was an absolute great day. I came out the ground. I felt like I'd played. I was exhausted. I felt like I'd played the 90 minutes. I had to drag my legs back home. I was absolutely knackered. But yeah, it was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. It's been a great weekend of Prem football, actually, and rounded it off where Liverpool came second tonight, Munaf, against Manchester United. Any thoughts on that?
Nah, they're just not in good form right now. I know you and I were talking about this offline. I know you have to get your little poke in there, but yeah, I'm not shocked at how bad they've been playing, at least over the first 3 games. So something has to change. But I mean, your Newcastle team looks really good.
They're just trying. That's all we ever wanted. Is just to play with a little bit of dynamism and a little bit of effervescence. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good to watch. And then I came back, I was checking the SGPN Soccer Discord channel, and all the boys in there seem to have enjoyed as well. So yeah, good. I mean, good times ahead.
What's the big news? Too. You cashed a preseason total already, and it's August.
Yeah, I came in from work later on, and I saw a lot of Twitter notifications, and I think Noah, you've been massaging my ego ever so slightly, and because the Baltimore Orioles. I think that was my lock in that division, over 62.5, and cashes by August the 22nd. I mean, come on. And I'll just point out, though, you tweeted out that photograph of me in a policeman's uniform. And I would like to put on the record that I am not a law enforcement man in any way, shape or form. I shouldn't be left in charge of anything, let alone the law of this country. So I'm not a policeman. I was dressing up for the day. So don't let that fool you. But yeah, I'm delighted with that.
We've got nice little fun photos for all of us in our preseason picks. I've got one for Dylan, one for me, one for you. Just missing one on Munaf. He's somehow kept a pretty good footprint from me. So
I try to keep a low profile.
Yeah, I have not saved a good picture from him yet. But I mean, Malcolm, that's your job in Vegas, right?
Yeah, I'm going to. I'll be joining the DJs in Vegas for Week 1 NFL, so I will go all secret squirrel, and I'm going to catch Munaf in a series of compromising situations and try to get some good photos for the boys.
There we go.
That's the plan. So a fun weekend of baseball just gone. We did do well. We had more in the W column than the L column between us as the weekend progressed. My tally site picks were absolutely flames. I smashed well over $100 profit to a $10 level stake last week. So good times there. So we start the week strong with games tonight, and then we've got this full slate Tuesday, starting with a double header, which we're going to get Munaf to look at. It's a little bit complicated, this one, in terms of pitches and the fact that it's at the Chicago Cubs, so which is a place we never seem to get early lines at. The first game is a 2:20 Eastern first pitch, which I reckon is Adam Wainwright against Sampson. What's Sampson's first name? Is Adrian. Is it?
Yeah,
Adrian Sampson. And the second game is going to be Jake Woodford with a TBD for the Chicago Cubs. No lines up for either game. So Munaf, have you got much on either of these games, or do we need to crack on into the nighttime games?
Yeah, I mean, not much. I mean, with no lines, I mean, we know about the pitchers, but I mean, without a lineup, we can't really give you much. And again, no pitcher for the second game of the doubleheader, and that's usually how it goes. And I think it's a tough spot for us to at least give out picks as well, because again, they only post money lines when we're in Wrigley Field, just because of they're waiting for that wind direction on the morning of to see where they're going to post a total at. So I can't say that Adam Wainwright has been in great form this season. I mean, the man is supposed to be aging, but he's not. He's been tremendous against the Cubs since last season. 4 starts. He's only given up 3 earned runs in about 29 innings pitched. So he's had good history against the Cubs dating back to last year. He had a start earlier this month, August 2nd, against the Cubs in St. Louis, where he threw 7 shutout innings. He allowed 6 hits, but didn't give up any runs in that game. But I expect him to be a heavy favorite here. Depending on the wind direction, I do lean with the under in this game. Adrian Sampson has been pretty good as well for the Chicago Cubs. He's 1-2 of his last 5 starts, 3.71 ERA. At home, 0-2 with 3.63 ERA. So he's done pretty well for himself, considering how the Cubs season is going. So I would lean towards the under in this game, just asterisk with the wind direction. But that's all I have for the doubleheader here, Malcolm.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add to this one at all, really. So many holes in the available information. Noah, anything you wanted to chip in on this?
Nothing new for this game, but I'd like to address the chat. It's absolutely popping here today. Got Dylan, Insano, Terrell, Dryden, Jong. Everybody's jumping in here. A lot of fire out on the social media today. We had the power rankings, which the St. Louis Cardinals top 5 now. They're number 5. They're squeaking in there, breaking the seal. And then we also had our first like highlight clip, I guess you could say, hit the airwaves. That was cool. And then there's the
power rankings,
the power rankings on the Baltimore graphic. So yeah, appreciate all the love, and then it's off to a fire start. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move into the evening slate. 7:05 Eastern first pitch is the Subway Series. The New York Mets travel to the New York Yankees, where Taijuan Walker will take the hill for the Mets, and Frankie Montas goes for the Yankees. No lines on this one. There was a little bit of confusion about this. Me and Munaf both had Jacob deGrom going. Noah then chipped in saying Taijuan Walker had some forearm tightness on Saturday, was pushed back a couple of days, and literally in the last 90 seconds or so, I have seen Taijuan Walker confirmed by MLB as the starting pitcher. I've got no lines up at the minute. Either of you two boys see any lines on this one?
No, I think this one we might need to keep an eye on during the podcast. We might be able to come back to it.
Yeah, so
no lines.
I'll give a brief handicap and we can give some leans on this one. Taijuan Walker is 10-3 on the season, 3.36 ERA, has pitched 112 and 1/3 innings with 85 strikeouts. Frankie Montas is 4-10, 3.87 ERA, 118 and 2/3 pitched with 117 strikeouts. Actually, my selection here doesn't really change because it was based on the presence of Frankie Montas. the New York Mets pitcher was irrelevant to the lean I was going to give out. Walker had been going all right. His last 5 ERA is 6.79, but he's got one horror show in there against Atlanta where he gave up 8 earned runs, over 1 inning, which completely and utterly skews his curve. And then his last time out is when he got pulled after just 2 innings against Atlanta. So really, you can put a question mark against Taijuan Walker. So it might be more prudent, really, just to handicap Frankie Montas and therefore the New York Mets bats, which is what I've done. Montas has had 3 starts for the Yankees since he came across. He's given up 14 runs in 14 innings. I think he's got some improvement in him. I think there's better days ahead for Montas, but you can't trust him. He's not performing. The Yankees have been a little bit wobbly too. So without any lines, I don't know what price you'll get the Mets on the money line, but maybe New York Mets team total might be a way of approaching this one. And just fading Montas until I see it, you have to keep fading him. I don't think you've got a choice, Muna.
Yeah, I mean, Frankie Montas, this guy was supposed to come into this rotation for the Yankees and kind of be that guy behind Garrett Cole, but there's so many question marks with this pitching rotation right now, and Frankie Montas just has not been very good for the Yankees. He's gone 14 innings. He's given up, 14 earned runs and 14 innings pitched. So not very good right now for the Yankees offensively and even on their pitching staff. So we may see some runs in this game, I think. Taijuan Walker, before he got pushed back, he was struggling a bit for the New York Mets, 3-1 over his last 5 starts, but the ERA is at 6.97. And that's, I think, really inflated because of the start that he did have against the Atlanta Braves back on August 5th. But, he was giving up runs prior to that. He gave up 3 earned runs each to the Marlins and the Yankees. Did have a start earlier this year, like I said, to the Yankees, where he went 6 innings and allowed 3 earned runs. So I think this might be a game where you might see the offenses break out a little bit.
No.
All right, so we have a couple of Mets homers on the podcast. Malcolm, if he associates himself with an MLB team, it's the Mets. And Dylan's also in the chat blowing up the Mets as well, saying Mets money line. I'm going to make the argument here for the Yankees. Now, I'm not saying I'm taking the Yankees. I like the Mets here in the spot. Walker is coming off of forearm tightness. Okay, that's not a small thing there. First off, that's like easy signs of like arm fatigue, and here in August and September, that's very usual. And injuries are just kind of starting to appear out of nowhere here in the late last quarter of the season here. Montas does have a 10.20 ERA in 3 games as a Yankees player. But in those 3 games, he faced the Cardinals, the Boston Red Sox at Fenway, and the Toronto Blue Jays. So all 3 of those teams are very quality teams. Not saying that Frankie Montas is going to turn it around here against another quality team. I'm just saying, you know what? It might not all be like, I don't know, cloudy and rain for Montas. He's just facing good teams right now, and he's getting hit pretty hard.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like I say, I do think there'll be better days ahead for him. But until I see one, then I'm happy to keep fading him. But you make valid points. No, I'd just like to see it, and then maybe I'll change my tune next time he's out. Next game is a 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The Cincinnati Reds at the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 lefties on the hill here. Nick Lodolo for Cincinnati and Ranger Suarez goes for Philadelphia. Cincinnati a plus 186. The Phillies are a prohibitive minus 220. Line is set here at 8.5. Nick Lodolo 3-4, 4.12 ERA, 54 2/3 pitched, 72 strikeouts. Ranger Suarez 8-5, 3.31 ERA, 114 1/3 pitched with 97 strikeouts. Lodolo's going well. Since he came back up a second time, he has gone well. He's kind of performed the way we thought he was going to go the first time when it didn't quite happen for him. 2.54 ERA in his last 5 starts. However, I'm going to caveat this by saying he's been poor on the road. Now, this is another one where he's only pitched actually 11 2/3 innings on the road of those 54 innings. So he's pitched 20% of his innings on the road. So you either trust that Lodolo has got it together as a whole, or you think he's better at home and he's going to be dodgy tomorrow on the road. I'd like to think he's done enough recently to earn our trust that he has got it together. It's just been circumstance that he's drawn home starts rather than away starts. So I think he can go okay tomorrow. Ranger Suarez has been great. Last 5 games, a 1.19 ERA. He went 7 scoreless against Cincinnati in his last start. In fact, Nick Lodolo went 7 innings scoreless in his last start against the Phillies. They played against each other in that series. That game ended 1-0 in favor of Philadelphia. I think Lodolo can keep it tight again, and Suarez has been good. So, yeah, under 8.5 for me. It looked pretty straightforward, Muna.
Yeah, the one thing about Ranger Suarez is that he hasn't been very good at home. He's 2-4 with a 4.60 ERA. Road record is 6-1 with a 2.41 ERA. So, that kind of gives me pause about backing the Phillies in this spot. Nick Lodolo, like you mentioned, he hasn't been very good on the road either, but he's gone 11 2/3 innings pitched, 11 earned runs, and he's given up. I want to see who he's kind of given those numbers up to. Let's see here. So he gave up 3 to the Brewers. Most of them came against the Cardinals, and then he also gave it up to the Padres. So that's all the way back in April. But I don't know. I was kind of stuck on this game. It's two pitchers that are not doing well on their splits on the road, like I mentioned, Lodolo and Ranger Suarez. But Ranger Suarez has just been in good form, and like you mentioned, he did really well against the Reds in his last start, where he went, like you mentioned, 7 shutout innings, only allowed 3 hits, and took the L there. I would probably lean towards taking the first 5 under in this game with these two pitchers. I think I'd want to trust Lodolo here a little bit, and that he's able to, contain this Phillies lineup. So I think if that number's at 4.5 for the first 5 innings, I would take the under between these two pitchers.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rudolph. The splits to concentrate on with Lodolo are the first time he was up in April, when you talked about he gave away those runs, versus the second time he's come up. And if you're happy to scratch that first visit, which I am, because he's proved enough in this second visit that he's more than capable. So I'm happy with him. Noah, what do you make of Lodolo against Suarez?
So I don't know if I'm just in a mood here, but again, I'm siding with you guys. I think I like the Reds a little bit more with Lodolo on the mound, but Suarez is going really well lately. Lodolo, I'm going to use the same argument I used yesterday with the Dodgers. Left-handed pitcher that recently shut down the Dodgers. Dodgers are one of the best left-handed hitting teams in the league. Their OPS dropped 30 points after that Lauer start. Now, against the Lodolo start, Brewers' OPS dropped 20 points. They're still 5th in the MLB in OPS at 779 this season. They hit lefties very well. This is a good offense. I think if they see Lodolo another 5 innings today, they should be able to score some runs off him. However, my college baseball fans and followers, I feel like this Phillies team is like the LSU Tigers. They're a great hitting team. Their defense is atrocious. So just beware if you're going to back them.
Okay. A little nod. I'm going to doff my cap at this point to Captain Insano, who did duff me up in the Fantasy League last week. It was tight. It wasn't like pretend tight, like Noah tried to make it sound the week before. This one was actually tight, but the captain did get the better of me, so congratulations. Well done to you. I'll see you in the playoffs.
I don't know why you're talking down upon my team. I helped you out this week. I beat Cody.
Man, I don't care what you do. It's irrelevant.
I'm just playing spoiler out here. You were lucky last week.
Let the big dogs eat, Noah. 7:05 Eastern, first pitch.
No other promotion. Come on.
It's the Atlanta Braves at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Left-handed pitcher Max Fried goes for Atlanta, and JT Brubaker, the Pirates ace, is on the hill for Pittsburgh, or a massive plus 226 home puppy. Dylan must be loving that. Atlanta minus 272. Totally errors set at 8. Moonaf, tell us why the home puppy's going to win.
Let's see here. I don't think the home puppy's going to win here.
Boo. Hiss. Hiss, boo.
You said the Braves, right? Did I hear you right?
Braves.
Yeah, okay. I thought I heard something else. All right. It's really hard to back JT Brubaker for me. I know that Noah has mentioned he's kind of the ace of this rotation, but I think it's kind of sad to say that he is. And it's not that he's a bad guy or a bad pitcher. I mean, he has pretty decent numbers at home, where he is 3-3 with a 4.66 ERA, but he has just struggled this season to kind of find his form. I mean, he's 3-10 with a 4.19 ERA. I know they're at home, but he's winless on the road. He did have a pretty solid outing against the Braves earlier this season. So I'll give him that. But other than that, I mean, if you kind of take a look at the starts that he's made for the Pirates, 4 of his last 5 starts, they have lost those games. I know they beat the Red Sox in his last start, where he went 7 shutout innings and only allowed 2 hits to the Red Sox. But this Braves team is just at another level right now. And I think that, when you have the ace on the mound for the Atlanta Braves in Max Fried, I think that that's going to give some trouble to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Looking at the WRC plus numbers over the last 2 weeks for the Pittsburgh Pirates, they are currently, let me see, Pirates are number 18, so they're about a little below league average. This number is, again, way too big for me. I would, even on the run line at -1.5 is still at juiced at -155. I just think that Max Fried is going to be able to contain this lineup for the Atlanta Braves. And if I had to make a pick on this game, I would go with the run line on the Braves -1.5, because again, they got to win against these poorer teams of the National League, because they are still in that race for the NL East division. I know they're about, I think I saw they were like 5 games back still, but anything can happen. I think these are the opponents that you kind of have to beat up on if you are the Atlanta Braves. So I'll take the Atlanta Braves run line in this game.
Noah, could you make a case for anything else in this one?
My only lean would be, I like the home putt with JT Brubaker on the mound. They have always got a fighting chance with him. I'll say that. But I think my favorite play on this one's probably going to be just like a blind strikeout route on Max Fried. Pirates, they're very prone to striking out against left-handed pitching. Fried has made 2 straight starts against the Mets. Now, I mean, the Mets have one of the best lineups, top 10 lineup in baseball, and they put some stress on Fried. Fried's lines against the Mets were not like amazing. They were really good, but he only had 6 strikeouts and 5 strikeouts. Now, he is good for some starts with 8, 7, 9 strikeouts. I think this is one of them against Pittsburgh, his first weak opponent, and I would say 4 starts. So I really like a strikeout prop here just on the spot.
Okay. All for that. I thought this could go low scoring, and I've taken it as the first 5 under. Because we've talked about Brubaker a few times recently. He's been going all right. He's got a horrible start thrown in against Philly, 4 starts back. But his last 2, 7 scoreless against Boston, and then a 2 earned run effort at Arizona. His ERA is improving. And yeah, I quite like what he's been doing. And I think it was you, Noah, who talked us through and made a case for him maybe the last time we were talking. So I agree with everything the two of you said. Fried will keep Pittsburgh quiet. But I think this could be a slow burner, and it might take Atlanta maybe 6 or 7 innings to really pile the pressure on. So I'll take the first 5 under and give a little bit of faith to JT Brubaker. 7:05 Eastern first pitch. The Chicago White Sox at the Baltimore Orioles. Dylan Cease for Chicago will take on Austin Voth for Baltimore. Lines are, there they are. Chicago are -159. Baltimore, another home puppy, +136. Totally set at 7 and 5. Come straight back to you, Noah, for this one.
Yeah, this is like a little bit of a brutal spot here. Chicago, they on Monday played a single game against the Kansas City Royals, and then now they travel to Baltimore. So they're going from Kansas City to Baltimore. I don't know about you guys, but I just don't know what this. I mean, we say it every weekend. I don't know what this White Sox front office sees that we don't. It's time to do our weekly review on TLR, guys. Did you guys see what just happened today? Moonoff, you had the under, right? You're fumed.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you think?
Of course, Kopech wants to throw them.
Yeah, he wants to throw, but again, you have to be smart and know that you pretty much gave away the game within those first 2 batters, or within that first inning where they gave up 4 runs. And as soon as he gave up that first walk, you should have pulled him. And the next batter, I think it was Bobby Witt Jr., where he hit, and and just like that, they had 2 guys on. and then no outs, and then they got the bases loaded. And after that, it was pretty much Swiss cheese for them. But White Sox did come back to tie it up, but now the Royals have taken a 6-4 lead headed into the top of the ninth to close it out. But I don't know, man. That's not just how you want to start the week. Putting out picks, but I mean, that was just a stupid decision.
Yeah, I mean, Meat Hook in our Discord channel. Like, I am a huge Kopech supporter. I think he's got all the talent in the world. But I mean, he is a little bit of a mental midget. And when something's bothering him, whether it's in the crowd or the other dugout, or just a little bit of a tweak in his knee, like he did in it sounded like it was his last pitch in warmups, tweaked his knee that he's already injured once before the season and had to leave a start early. And like the first inning again, it was kind of like the same situation. It was very early in the game. So yeah, he was just very bothered by that. And this game here, Insano in the chat pointing out another good one. The bullpen's going to be exhausted. That's the whole reason why you get a spot starter or get a long reliever in there instead of, having Kopech go and trying to piece that thing together after the first inning. So back to this Orioles game here. This team, they're the Baltimore W's. They're not the Baltimore O's. And in my opinion, Dylan Cease, he slipped a little bit. Like in his last 5 starts, I can poke holes. Okay. Like he's not given up many runs, but he's also not been like electric shutdown punch out guy. 4 strikeouts, 8 strikeouts, 5 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts. That's nothing like the double digits almost every start that we were seeing in the front half of the season. In 2022, I can't talk. Cease, he has totaled a 12-5 record, 2.09 ERA, 178 strikeouts, 58 walks, 133.2 innings pitched. Now for Baltimore, Austin Voth is starting. He's 3-1 in 10 starts, 4.86 ERA, 62 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 66.2 innings pitched. Early in the season, Voth was a train wreck in the bullpen, and he was starting games, and I loved fading him. But in his last 7 games, he has a 2.20 ERA. So a guy who was once one of my favorite fades has killed me lately. And we all know that the Baltimore home trend, and they have the 4th best bullpen in the MLB. Give me the birds here, guys.
Yes, no surprise. I'm going to agree with you here for a few reasons, Noah. Firstly, I think Baltimore a pick today after they've got me over the line for my first preseason bet of the day. So it was an auto pick for me. However, they say Insano makes a great point there that they are using the bullpen up. It's another travel spot. Baltimore have got a day off today, just to have a little rest. So they're going to have a day off on Monday before they play this game on Tuesday. And they're more than feisty. They're genuinely decent, Baltimore. Plus 135. KC, you've turned the White Sox over today at plus 130. Oh, they haven't yet. I'm going to jinx it. I'm going to mush my own bet here. My dog of the day was KC, so I'm not going to mush it. But the KC were plus 130. Baltimore, similar price today. Absolutely no reason. All the value there is with the Baltimore Orioles. So that will be my bet. The lines that we're giving you here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. So did I get the Munaf? Did I ignore you, Munaf? Oh, I did. Sorry, mate.
No, it's okay. I was just going to mention, I agree with everything you guys just said there. I think kind of going off of what Insano said is this bullpen's going to be exhausted. Dylan Cease does have good numbers against, that's against the Royals. Let me filter this down to the Orioles. He's 2-0 in his career with a 2.00 ERA. With the mention that the bullpen got used up today, I would probably look at a Dylan Cease outs issued prop if you are a prop better, because they're gonna have to get at least 6 or 7 innings out of Dylan Cease tomorrow with the amount of arms that they did have to use up today with the Chicago White Sox. So I think that's one area I'm gonna look at tomorrow morning when this number does come out for Dylan Cease outs issued.
Yeah, that's a really good steer, Munaf. Actually, that's a great angle to tackle it from. Apologies for overlooking you there, mate.
Just because your team is ahead of us on the EPL table doesn't mean you look over me.
Out of sight, out of mind, you see. Out of sight, out of mind. We've got bigger
for all those years that they were at the bottom, right?
Yeah, there you go. We've got bigger fish to fry now, boys. The WinBet is the title sponsor here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. That's where we're fetching all these lines. And if you get across there, it's a perfect place to bet on MLB. Reduced juice currently. in all MLB games. You've got the $100 new customer bonus, where bet you $100, you'll get a free $100 bet. Win have also just released their first quarterback with 5 touchdown prop bets. Brackets Derek Carr is the right answer there. Loads to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. A great tool if you are a DGen is Odds Trader. Odds Trader does everything for you. Puts it all in the palm of your hand. Compares odds from all major sports books. Compares the different sign-up codes and promotions so you can make sure you get the best value for your money. And then Odds Trader will give you stuff like player statistics, key game stats, injury reports, game day weather, all the really important stuff, as well as a bet tracker so you can keep records of all your games and betting activity. Do that at oddstrader.com/bluewire. Odds Trader is the #1 site for all your game day bets. And also Run Your Pool, the home of competition, bringing sports fans and their social circles together. Run Your Pool offers pick'ems, survivors, fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for all those kind of things. We've teamed up with Run Your Pool to host a pool for our official SGPN NFL Survivor contest. Hop in now to reserve your spot. $500 cash and a $250 gift certificate to the SGPN store for the winner. Sign up today at play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. That's play.runyourpool.com/SGPN. 7:10 Eastern first pitch. The San Francisco Giants at the Detroit Tigers. Left-hander Carlos Rodon goes for the Giants, and Drew Hutchison goes for Noah's Tigers. The lines are another prohibitive favorite. San Francisco -217. Detroit +184. Total here is set at 7. Carlos Rodon 11-6 on the season, 2.89 ERA. Pitched 140 in 1/3 with 179 Ks. Drew Hutchison is 1-6 with a 4.23 ERA, 66 innings, 42 strikeouts. Rodon's been great, going along nicely. 3-1 in his last 5, 2.67 ERA. He's had one bad start in that span, but his last 4, 24 1/3 pitched, he's only given up 4 earned runs. He's also got 3 double-figure strikeout games in that span as well, so maybe a strikeout prop. Noah might be able to give us a steer on that in a little minute. Drew Hutchison, 3.86 ERA in his last 5. Been a little bit better, actually. They never win, the Detroit Tigers, they never win anyway, but they win even less when Hutchison's on the mound. They seem to dislike him. There's been no more than 8 runs in those games where Hutchison's started, where he's played. They get beat 4-1, 5-1, that kind of thing. And this pretty much is what I think tomorrow. My play is going to be San Francisco Giants to win and under 7. This is going to be 3-1 or 4-1. It just fits into a pattern, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. So we'll just go with it again. SFG and under for me. Little parlay there. Strikeouts for Carlos Rodon, Noah. Is that a good play or not? You're on mute.
Bingo.
Yeah. Again, after the ads, I just didn't catch it. It's a lefty. The Tigers don't really strike out as much against lefties. They actually do pretty well. But Rodon does very well against the Tigers. In his last 4 starts, he's made 4 starts since the beginning of 2021. He is 3-0. In the first 3 outings, 2 hits, 1 hit, 2 hits. And then the last outing when he was a Giant at the Bay, the Tigers recorded 7 hits, but only 1 run. And that one, they only struck out 4 times. And that was this year's team again. So I don't know if that's a necessarily great play with the Rodon, but I'm definitely backing him against the Tigers here. He just normally mows us down. So The Discord loves Tigers unders as well. Somebody said yesterday, I wish I had their name in front of me, but it was like peanut butter and jelly, Detroit Tigers and unders. So I love your little parlay there, Malcolm. Same game parlay. I like it.
Okay. Munaf?
Yeah, I mean, this offense right now for the Detroit Tigers they're just not producing runs, and they've been under machines. We saw that they play the Guardians. We saw that with their last series. I believe it was against the Angels. And Rodon, you mentioned the numbers there. He's been going along very well. Did actually have a start against the Tigers earlier this year where he only allowed 1 earned run in six innings. And had 4 strikeouts in that game. He has gotten he's been subpar on the road, I guess we can say. He's 5-5, 3.72 ERA, but against AL Central opponents this season, 2-0 with a 1.38 ERA. Drew Hutchinson has gotten into trouble at home where he's only 1-5 with a 4.71 ERA. But I think you got to continue riding this under. These are 2 offenses that are not going to be producing and haven't been producing, right? I don't trust this Giants offense either. If you're able to get 7.5, maybe tomorrow. I know the current number is 7 right now, but I think I do like the under in this game as well.
Okay, next game is hang on, I'm just taking my socks off. Sorry, 2 seconds. It's suddenly got very hot, boys. Live wardrobe adjustment here.
Just don't take anything else off, please.
Okay, so I've got some pants on tonight, Moon. If you'd be pleased to hear. 7:10 East first pitch. The LA Angels at the Tampa Bay Rays, where Jose Suarez takes the ball, the lefty, for the LA Angels, and Corey Kluber goes for the Tampa Bay Rays. The Angels are plus 152. Tampa Bay are minus 177. Total errors low at 7. Munaf, take it away. Angels at the Rays.
Yeah, Jose Suarez on the mound for the Angels. 3-2 so far over his last 5 games. 3.08 ERA on the road so far this year. 2-2 with a 3.44 ERA. His last start was against the Mariners, where he went 5 1/3 inning, allowed 3 earned runs off of 4 hits. Did have 5 strikeouts in that game. He hasn't faced prior to the Seattle game, he didn't face any good offenses. I mean, he faced the A's twice, got victories there, 1-0 and 3-1. Prior to that, he faced the Kansas City Royals, where they got the victory there 6-0. And then before that, he got blown up by the Dodgers. Now you're going to take it on a Rays team that, again, offensively just not a very good team right now. And looking at the WRC plus numbers for the Tampa Bay Rays over the last 2 weeks, they are number 14, so a little above league average against left-handed pitching. Don't strike out a lot against left-handed pitching either. They're number 18 in that category as well. Corey Kluber, 7-7 with a 4.33 ERA, 111 strikeouts, 18 walks. Last 5 games, he has struggled. He's 1-2 with a 6.28 ERA. His last start was against the Yankees, where he did go 6 innings and allowed 2 earned runs, did strike out 8 batters. And prior to that, that's where he had his bad start. That's why his ERA is inflated over his last 5 games, which against the Baltimore Orioles, 5 2/3, gave up 7 earned runs off of 10 hits to the Orioles in that game. So he does give up runs, does Corey Kluber. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. I don't know. Do I have faith in the Angels offense? I'm not sure, but I feel like this is a big number for Corey Kluber in the Rays here. I think there may be some value, at least in the first 5 innings, for the Los Angeles Angels here with Jose Suarez, left-handed pitcher, on the mound. Again, you might check the lineups first, because I know Ohtani left on Sunday with, I think it was an illness in that game. So I'm not sure if he's going to be starting on Monday night or not, but I think there may be some value here on the Angels here to get some runs on Corey Kluber. So I like him in the first 5 innings. I don't trust his Angels bullpen at all. So I'll take the Angels first 5 money line here, Mal.
Munaf, if you've got a handkerchief to hand, now might be a good time to get it out, because I think you're going to be quite proud now. This feels like the last moment in my development from a novice MLB handicapper to a pro, because I handicapped this game and LA Angels on the first 5 was what I came down on, Munaf. I've reached you. You've dragged me up to your level. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel like you've grown over the past
I have
season and a half. So yeah, you're getting it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Suarez has been going well, and I think Corey Kluber is knackered. He looks tired to me.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him sort of hit the IL pretty soon, either for a rest more than anything, or if there is something ailing him, because, yeah, he just looks a little bit on the slide. So it's a low total. I don't fancy the Angels full game, but I did think they could get ahead, and yeah, exactly the same as yourself. Noah, what do you think?
Now, guys, we're predicting injuries with a guy that, I mean, he's going up against the team that strikes out the most in the MLB, most prone to strikeouts in the MLB. This is at least a nice little spot. Like, he's had in his last 4 starts 8 strikeouts against the Yankees, 10 strikeouts against the caught myself Guardians, 4 strikeouts against the Orioles, 5 against the Tigers. He has had a nice little stretch here of strikeouts. I'm not saying he's been pitching well. The ERA is up there. I think he's going to give up a couple of runs. I like your little first 5s on the Angels, but when it comes to strikeouts, it's going to be at like 4.5, 5.5. I really like the over, but as for that, I think you guys have handicapped this one correctly. I'm going to go with the Angels as well.
Okay, we can all win on that then. Angels first 5, Kluber get some strikeouts along the way. Next game is we've got a TBD pitchers here. We think we've got pitchers. I certainly got no lines. 7:10 Eastern, it's the Toronto Blue Jays at the Boston Red Sox. I think it's Ross Stripling going for Toronto. That's TBD. The pitcher I hadn't seen, who I now do see, is Josh Winkowski going for Boston. I say no lines on this as yet. Noah, you can lead us off with this one. Was there much on this? Did you say any lines, or is this one you wanted to whiz past?
I had no lines, but I did have those same projected starters. A couple of nuggets here, though. Toronto, they're 4-1 in their last 5 games, and in their last 5 games at Fenway Park, they've won every single one of them. Ross Stripling, who we're both projecting to start here, he's 5-3, 2.93 ERA, 74 strikeouts, 15 walks, and 89 innings pitched, 3.38 road ERA, 2.45 ERA in his last 5 starts. Josh Winkowski for Boston, he's 5-6 with a 5.19 ERA, 36 Ks, 21 walks in 60.2 innings pitched. He got blasted by the Pirates for 6 runs and 5 innings in his last start. And plus, he has a 6.11 home ERA inside Fenway Park. So if Ross Stripling, I don't even know if I have to see Ross Stripling. I kind of like Toronto in this spot here. They're going, and they have all of the momentum trying to catch the Yankees here in the AL East.
Yeah, the Blue Jays certainly look a lot better past the eye test. And Stripling was great. I think it was his first start back after a little break last time out, and he went really well. I've got no lines, therefore I've got no leans or picks. Moonaf, anything on this one?
I would probably lean just towards the over in this game. Like you mentioned, Josh Winkowski he's pitching for the Red Sox, but he just hasn't been very good over his last 5 games. 2-2 with a 6.46 ERA. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in 3 out of his last 5 starts. He got blown up by the Pirates in his last start, and now you have a hot offense like the Toronto Blue Jays, who are, they're breathing down the neck of the New York Yankees for that AL East division. So they've got some momentum here. I think this is an opportunity for them to go into Fenway Park and then, give them the business like they did, I think it was last month or earlier this month, where they just absolutely hammered them in that series. There's one game where they put up like 28 runs. So Ross Stripling, he's been pretty good for the Toronto Blue Jays. I know he had his first start, he had a start back after coming off the IL against the Baltimore Orioles, where he was really good. 6 1/3 innings pitch, only allowed 1 hit in that game. So, he also faced Boston earlier this season, where it was back on July 24th. 4 innings, still out 2 earned runs, but the offense really carried the Toronto Blue Jays in that game, where they won 8-4. So, I think this is an opportunity for the Blue Jays again to get some more wins here. Again, the Red Sox are just not having a great season. They can't hit. The pitching has been questionable all season long, so I think it's a good opportunity for the Blue Jays to go in there and steal a victory here, or get a victory here. I'm starting to say. I would go on the run line on this game for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I don't know if the Blue Jays are breathing down the neck of the Yankees just yet, enough, but they could maybe hear the footsteps if they listen carefully. 8-10 Eastern.
3 starts against Boston, by the way. He has a 3.20 ERA in those. So this year,
nice ad. 8-10 Eastern first pitch. the Arizona Diamondbacks against the Kansas City Royals, who have cashed my dog already. Today, they've just closed out on the White Sox 6-4. Zach Davis will go for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Jonathan Heasley goes for the Kansas City Royals. The lines in this one are Arizona are a road favourite, -125. KC, a slight underdog at +105. Total here is 8.5. Zach Davis is 2-4 on the season with a 3.99 ERA. He's pitched 97 innings with 74 strikeouts. Heasley is 1-7, a 5.61 ERA, 61 innings and 46 strikeouts. Davis is 4.09 in his last 5 starts. He doesn't go very deep into games, Zach Davis. He's no more than 5 innings pitched. And he has been slightly worse on the road as well. He's got a 4.68 ERA. So I don't really fancy the Diamondbacks much at -125. I don't know if the Diamondbacks should be road favourites anywhere. However, Heasley, it's hard to inspire confidence as well. He's really struggling. 7.85 ERA in his last 7 starts. He's given up 25 earned runs in his last 28 and 2/3 innings. Just looks like an over. I know both offenses can be a little bit weak, but we've said recently that Kansas City are more than capable, actually. They put up 6 tonight. I mean, a repeat of tonight's game, 6-4, that'll do us. I think both pitchers can contribute. Both teams can get a few hits and runs. Over 8.5 for me, Munaf.
Yeah, I like the first 5 innings over in this game. If that's 8.5, you probably get a 4.5 for sure with these two pitchers. I mean, Jonathan Heasley, like you mentioned, he was sent down to the minor leagues for the Kansas City Royals. He did have a start for them, and he allowed 4 earned runs in that start to I forgot which team it was. I just had it in front of me. Yeah, it was Louisville on August 16th, where he gave up 4 earned runs in 5 innings, pitched 6 hits, did allow 3 walks in that game as well to a minor league team. And now you're coming up into the big leagues. I understand it is a Diamondbacks, but he has, he struggled overall. There's no better way to put it. Even if it's against the Arizona Diamondbacks team, he did face this Arizona Diamondbacks team back on May 24th. 5 innings, he did allow 3 earned runs to them. 6 walks in that game he gave up to the Diamondbacks. So if the Diamondbacks are able to stay patient at the plate, get some base runners on, manufacture runs by playing small ball, whether it's flyouts, stealing base and things like that, I think they can put up at least 2 in the first 5. And like you mentioned, the Royals offense, they're able to put up runs. We saw that today against the White Sox. I know it was against a bullpen, but they have hitters on this roster in his batting lineup where guys can hit for average and they can steal bases. And I think there's going to be an opportunity where we do see runs early with these 2 pitchers. So I think we see maybe 6 runs scored in the first 5 innings here. So I'll take the over 4.5 between these 2 teams and these 2 pitchers.
Captain Zeno's touting the walks for Zach Davis in the chat there. At least 2 walks in 13 of his 19 starts. So if you can find a +1.5, might be a way to go. Noah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I like the over, Malcolm. I'm not going to really add much more to this. Heasley, you look up the fantasy rankings, he's in the bottom 5 of all pitchers in the MLB. So that should say enough about his, reputation this year in the 2022 season. So these D-backs, they do have capable bats in the top of that order, and Varsho and Ketel Marte and a couple others that should be able to take advantage of a weak pitcher here. Yeah,
it's a shame about Heasley because he's got lovely hair. 8:10 Eastern first pitches, the Minnesota Twins at the Houston Astros. We've got a TBD pitcher for Minnesota and Justin Verlander for the Houston Astros. No lines for this one at all. Munaf, your hometown Astros. Have you got much to add with this lack of information here?
No, it's Carlos Correa's return to the Astros since he left in free agency. So I think I'm trying to get out there for the game tomorrow and say, just see Verlander pitch as well. But Verlander did have a start against the Twins earlier this year, 8 shutout innings. He only allowed 1 hit to this Minnesota Twins team. Twins are in a sticky situation here. They play on Monday evening against the Texas Rangers. They got to get on a flight to Houston. Houston does have the day off today, I believe, on Monday. So now you have to go up against the ace of the Houston Astros. I would probably look at Astros -1.5 in this game, despite whoever is pitching for the Minnesota Twins. Again, Verlander's just been in great form at home, 7-1, 2.18 ERA. Has given up 3 runs over his last 2 starts here, but I think that he can find his form and dominate against the Twins like he did earlier this year, where he, like I said, threw 8 shutout innings, only allowed 1 hit. So I'd lean with the Astros minus 1.5 run line on this game.
Noah, do you have a read on this Houston game?
Keep it nice and quick because it's exciting times and we have a lot of ads to get through for this episode. Rule number 1, betting MLB for me anyway, is you just don't fade Justin Verlander. That's it. So go ahead.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got absolutely nothing on this one at all without a Minnesota pitch. I think both teams, in my instinct, tells me that they're both sort of under teams, and I know I've done well taking Houston unders recently, so that might be a way to go depending on who goes for the Minnesota Twins. I had my first fantasy draft last night when I came home from the football with the full of beer, so I think I managed it okay. Sleeper is the place that I did that. It was the SGPN DGens League. Sleeper is a great fantasy platform app, the fastest growing in the industry, but they have added an overall under game to that app now, where if you pick a sport, pick your players and pick the props, you can win anywhere from 2 to 20 times your stake by being right on them. NFL season is right around the corner, and Sleeper is the first sports contest game built into that fantasy experience. If you join our listener group on your phone, use the code sleeper.com/SGP. Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Go to sleeper.com/SGP. Get a $100 match on your first deposit. T's and C's apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Trade Coffee, another one of our favorites here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee by using independent craft roasters from all around the big cities and small towns. It's expert tasted coffee. They've got 450 different kinds live and ready for you. You need to take the quiz is the thing to do. If you go to drinktrade.com/SGP, take the quiz, and then Trade Coffee will match you with the perfect coffee for you. Answer a few questions. You'll get your own personalized variety. You can have it as whole beans or ground, however you take it. So yeah, drinktrade.com/SGP to take the quiz. And Trade are offering subscribers a total of $30 off their first order plus free shipping. That is drinktrade.com/SGP for $30 off. 8:40 Eastern first pitch is the Texas Rangers at the Colorado Rockies, where Dane Dunning will go for Texas and German Marquez starts for Colorado. Texas are plus 110, Colorado minus 130. Total here is big. It's set at 11. Noah, Texas at Colorado. He's on mute after the adverts again. Come on,
No.
You're kidding. You're kidding. Okay. It's set at 11.
He's on a hat trick.
It's set at 11 for a reason, Malcolm. Okay. First off, Texas travels from Minnesota to Denver. Texas, they're 6-3 in their last 9 games. In the last week and a half, the Rockies have beaten the Cardinals and Giants at Coors in series. So guess what, though? Dane Dunning, he's going to struggle here at mile-high altitude. His number one pitch that he uses is the sinker at 41% of the time. He also throws his changeup 21% of the time. But also, German Marquez does not pitch well at home either with a 5.92 Coors ERA. The total is set at 11, like I mentioned, for a reason, like Malcolm mentioned, for a reason. I love it, and I also lean Colorado on the money line here just for good time's sake. Texas, Dane Dunning on the season. He's 3-6, 4.06 ERA, 108 strikeouts, 50 walks in 124 innings. And for Colorado, German Marquez, he's 6-10 on the year, 5.05 ERA, 108 strikeouts, 47 walks, and 133.2 innings pitched. How about you guys?
Munaf, Colorado at home?
Give me Colorado all day here. This is lock of the day potential. We've talked a lot about Dane Dunning throughout this season. Back him at home, fade him on the road. 0-5 on the road so far this year, 5.08 ERA. Again, Noah highlighted it there. Travel spot, Minnesota to Colorado to altitude. I think that this is going to be a tough spot for them. Marquez historically has been pretty good against the Texas Rangers. I mean, I know it dates back to 2020, which is, I think that's a pretty good sample here, but he's had 4 appearances against them. Despite having an 0-3 record, He has a 2.92 ERA against the Colorado Rockies. His last start was back in 2021 in Texas, where he did allow 4 earned runs in 6 innings. But other than that, he didn't allow more than 2 earned runs in the prior 3 starts. So I think situationally, looking at the spot, I think this is a good spot for the Colorado Rockies. So I'll take the Rockies here and give me the Rockies team total over in this game as well.
Malcolm, did you see the word used in the chat, by the way?
Buffoon, correct. Well done, Dryden. Dryden is shot straight to the top of my listener power rankings with the use of the word buffoon. Attention paid beautifully. Moonaf, you might have to get that. You might have to get that handkerchief back out again, Moonaf. I think it's time that you can send me off into the big wide world by myself. I have learned everything I'm going to learn from you. I've got Colorado, on the money line at -130 with a little L for lock next to it with a question mark, which is exactly what you said. Lockstep Moonaf, or is that little CCTV camera that I put in your house finally kicked in, and I've started paying attention. You decide, Moonaf, but it's Colorado for me for all the reasons you paid out. Colorado at home, man. It's that straightforward. -130. I will take them all day. 9:40 Eastern first pitch is the Cleveland Guardians at the San Diego Padres, where Aaron Savale for Cleveland will take on Mike Clevenger of the Padres. The Guardians are +140. San Diego -166. Total set at 8. Savale is 2-5, 5.63 ERA, or was that a 3.63 ERA? Can't read my own writing. Would probably make a big 5.63. Okay, that would make a difference on the handicap. 64 innings and 66 strikeouts. Clevenger 4-4, 3.63 ERA, 74 1/3, and 66 strikeouts. Savale is going okay in his last 5. He's only given up 4 earned runs over his last 18 innings. He has been in this little AL Central bubble where they just get to play sort of the Tigers and then the Rose on a loop. Out of his comfort zone now, going up against the Padres. Clevenger, 2.96 home ERA. But 2 of his last 3 starts have been a little bit dodgy, but they've been on the road, and I do think he's a lot better at home. I expect better from him tomorrow. I think this can go under. I've struggled a little bit with this one, actually. I would have to just say, Moon, after I've learned everything I can learn, I had a lot of question marks on this one. I was struggling to come to a sensible decision. I've got under 8, but it's a weak under 8. I really, it's not a confident lean even a little bit. I fear for Savale on the road a little bit. So yeah, I've got under 8, but I certainly wouldn't be putting any great stock in that one, Moon. What have you got to teach me about this game?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it there that he has just struggled on the road. And I know a lot of those came in the month of April. And he's only had, I think, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 road starts since the month of April. So he's only averaged about 1 per month. But we're all kind of waiting, or we're just coming to the realization that this offense for the Padres is not good. I mean, I don't know. But Mike Clevenger at home is a pitcher that I think I can get behind. Despite having a 1-2 record, he does have a 2.96 ERA. He's pitched 27 1/3 innings and only allowed 9 earned runs. And you look at Aaron Savale on the road so far this season, he's pitched 31 innings and allowed 25 earned runs on the road. So he's faced NL West teams as well earlier this season, where I believe it was the San Francisco Giants that he gave up 3 earned runs to in 4 innings pitched. But I mean, if there is a spot where this Padres team puts up runs, it has to be against Aaron Savale in this spot. At a -165 price, I'm not sure if I can get behind that. I would probably look at the run line, because if the Padres do win, I think it would have to be it's going to be by 2 or more runs. And I just don't trust Savale on the road. I think I trust Mike Clevenger at the house. So I'll take the Padres run line here at a plus money odds. I think that this is a game where the offense gets at least 5 runs for the Padres against Aaron Savale and the Cleveland Guardians. Okay,
Noah, Guardians at Padres.
There was one thing that you guys didn't mention about Clevenger. It's a revenge spot for Sunshine. Revenge spot for Sunshine.
That was on my mind right before Malcolm took over.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm on it. I'm all over it. I don't know if I can trust the offense. I'm still one of the four of us that are high enough to have the Padres in my top 10. They didn't squeak in to our power rankings this weekend.
Nope.
But
not for me.
A couple of you guys had the Guardians. So I guess I'm a little bit nervous that I'm not quite seeing what you guys are seeing in this Cleveland team. I'm just going to go with the under because I think that Clevenger should go well, and Savali is a little bit of a question, but this Padres lineup is a question as well. So I like the under.
You're all obsessed with this revenge spot thing. Sean and Ryan talk about it on the NFL all the time. I just don't get it. Like, I don't think it is. Honestly.
As a player, it is 100% true. Especially since they traded him away, and his life has been awful. He's had two Tommy John surgeries in the last 2.5 years since they traded him to San Diego.
So he doesn't try his best in his other starts, so he can save it up for this start.
100%.
Yeah, bollocks. Absolute bollocks.
Malcolm. So when you have a game when you're playing with the Nighthawks, who's your rival?
There's a team called
some rivals out there. Come on.
There's a team called Rugby that we hate.
So don't you get extra motivated to play them and try to beat them?
But that means you're cheating the rest of the time, doesn't it?
Especially as a pitcher, though. It's hard to not get.
You can make more noise. Stood in the dugout, you can make more noise and be a bit more rowdy. But you can't give any more effort on the field, or you shouldn't be doing it in the first place.
Yeah, but you want to go out and like beat a team that traded you or gave up on you too, right? Like I think that.
Of course you do, yeah.
Yeah, so Clevenger should go out and do that against the Guardians.
It's a revenge.
Honestly, this is the kind of situation where my 4,000 miles of separation does me a favor over you. Like, you're all too insulated. You're a weird bunch, honestly.
You know what? When the Padres win 10-0 on Tuesday night, I'm gonna message Malcolm in the morning.
Hey, he did.
Or Clevenger throws a no-hitter.
That would be awesome. I would love.
We look forward to that then. 9:40 Eastern first pitch. The Miami Marlins at the Oakland Athletics. Pablo Lopez for Miami and Zach Logue, I think we stuck with, left-handed pitcher, goes for Oakland. Home puppy here, Oakland plus 120. Miami minus 140. Total at 7. Munaf Pablo Lopez he's on the slide, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on the slide big time. I don't know what's going on. We talked about this last pod where we thought he would turn it around against the Padres, but he gave up 6 earned runs and 4 2/3 innings pitched to them. And over his last 5 games, he's 1-3 with a 6.84 ERA. So he's allowed at least 4 earned runs over his 3 out of his last 4 starts. They've been against pretty good offenses, I guess we can say. Atlanta, it was in there. They had the Mets in there as well. Padres were in a spot where I think they were trying to avoid the sweep against Pablo Lopez and the Marlins, and the offense showed up for them. And, you're going up against an A's team. I think this is a little bit of a feisty bunch, but are they going to be is this a spot where Pablo Lopez gets right, or does his struggles continue? I think that's why we're here to handicap these games. But there's no way in hell I'm putting my money behind Zach Logue, where he's 3-7 on the season with a 6.35 ERA. Over his last 5 games, he's 1-4 with an 8.22 ERA. It just has not been very good. And when he goes up against a decent offense or a good offense, he'll give it up. Last start, 7 earned runs against the Rangers, gave up 6 against the Astros. He gave up 3 to the Detroit Tigers. He had one good start at home against the Houston Astros. And then against the Rangers, he also gave up 4 earned runs as well in a home start. I can't get behind him, Malcolm. I really can't. I think this is a spot where Pablo Lopez does bounce back. I do like the Marlins here in this game. Possibly look at a Marlins team total in this game as well between these two squads. So Marlins money line for me, and then also look at Marlins team total in this game as well.
Noah, any love for Zach Logue?
No love for either of these teams. This game is terrible. I feel like this is one of those series from earlier in the season when we were talking about the Pirates and Nationals, and my line was just, if you're going to bet it, call 1-800-GAMBLER, because I have no idea who's going to show up here and play well. The Miami Marlins have the worst offense against left-handed pitching. Their OPS is below 600. This thing is at 598. The next worst team is actually the Cleveland Guardians at 627. They are 30 points lower than the next and the lowest team against left-handed pitching. And most of your lineups going to be right-handed hitters. You should be pretty good against left-handed pitching. Now let's go to the Oakland Athletics. They have the second worst offense in all of the MLB against everybody, but against right-handed pitching, they again have the second worst offense, only ahead of the Detroit Tigers, who are historically bad. So really, I have no idea what you want from me in this game. The edge here is Pablo Lopez if he wakes up. That's all I'm going to say, because he has been rough. He's been good start, bad start, good start. He's had 2 bad starts in a row. This should be a good start. It is against one of the worst lineups in all of the MLB. He should wake up, but I can't promise that.
I've got the Athletics here. I think we talked about pitchers who were starting to tire a little bit. We mentioned Corey Kluber. I think the earlier one we mentioned was Frankie Montas, maybe at the top of the show as well. And I put Pablo Lopez in this envelope now a little bit. And as much as I don't really trust Zach Logue, this is going to be a low-scoring game. The total's set at 7. So there's not going to be much between them. So at the price of plus 120, I'm going to give the Oakland Athletics a chance. I got loads of dogs. I've got dogs coming out my ears tonight. So, yeah, let's take another one with Oakland.
Malcolm, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have Pablo Lopez on my fantasy team, and I'm playing Captain Insano for you. Would you like me to start Pablo Lopez? What should I do here?
Yeah, mate, you start him.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, it's the worst. It's the second worst offense in the MLB.
If you're sitting Lopez against the Athletics, mate,
you should just drop him at that point.
Yeah, you're absolutely in trouble, yeah. 10:10 Eastern first pitch is the Washington Nationals at the Seattle Mariners. Eric Fedde will go up against the lefty Robbie Ray for Seattle. Lines are Washington plus 217. Seattle are very short, minus 263. Total here is set at 7.5. Straight back to you, Noah, for Eric Fedde against Robbie Ray.
The Nationals are 5-13 in the last 18 games, but beware, they are 9-9 against the spread in those games. And I mean, if you're betting the Seattle's run line, just make sure you know that. Eric Fedde for Washington is 5-7, 4.95 ERA, 70 strikeouts, 47 walks, and 92.2 innings pitched this year. He's coming off the IR. He last pitched July 24th. He has a 5.75 ERA on the road this year. And for Seattle, it's Robbie Ray. He's 9-8 with a 3.87 ERA, 166 strikeouts, 51 walks, and 142 innings pitched. He has a 2.38 ERA in his last 3 starts against pretty good teams. He's got a 2.86 home ERA. This one seems pretty easy on paper. I'll take that dangerous run line against Washington here with Seattle.
Okay, Moonaf, I reckon you've got the same play here.
Yeah, I'm looking at Washington's numbers against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks, and they rank number 19 in WRC plus. Looking at their team batting average, that goes up to number 13. Robbie Ray he's been okay over his last 3 starts. Actually, he's been pretty good over his last 3 starts. He did face the Yankees where he struck out 7 and only allowed 2 earned runs to them in a 6 1/3. He went 7 innings against the Angels, where we know they're not just on a very good offense right now. And he had 2 starts prior to that against the Astros, where he did get into trouble because, again, it is the Astros, one of the best offenses in the league. So he is 4-3 at home this season with a 2.80 ERA. And I'm looking at, how Washington does against left-handed pitching strikeout-wise. Over the last 2 weeks, they do strike out about 26.3% strikeout percentage, which ranks number 7 in the entire league. So depending on the number for Robbie Ray's strikeouts, I may look at that. I think 8.5 will be too much. My guess is probably comes out at 7.5. I still feel like that's a hair too high. But as far as the game, I think this is a game where the Mariners do come back and respond after taking in I think they lost the final 2 games against the A's in that series. So if they're going to be contending in the American League wildcard race, I think this is a game where they need to get against the Nationals team. So I think that the run line here for the Seattle Mariners, -1.5, -120 would be my play. Eric Fedde is coming back after missing an entire month for the Washington Nationals. So maybe there's some rust there, and he's also prone to giving up walks. Prior to him leaving, he had at least 3 walks in 4 straight starts in those games. And I know he did face the Seattle Mariners where he did have a good outing. 5 1/3 innings pitch. He only allowed 2 earned runs off of 6 hits. But I think this is an opportunity for the Mariners to get back home, to go up against a guy that's coming off the IL and take care of some business to stay alive in that AL wild card race with quote unquote their ace on the mound. And again, Robbie Ray has been better at home versus the road. So I'll take the Mariners -1.5 here.
I'm going to follow a little bet that's been going okay for me over the last week or so, and that's Washington on the run line. I'm going to take Washington with the extra run and a half here to keep it close. I think that would have cashed. I've just been having a look, actually. 7 out the last 9, certainly 5 out the last 6. They've lost by 1 run a couple of times to the Padres. They then obviously won a couple of those games, lost by 1 run to the Cubs, beat the Cubs, beat the Padres. So, yeah, 7 out the last 9 with the run and a half head start. Washington would have won. So I had that written down before I even discovered that little stat. So, yeah, back myself up a little bit. So give me Washington. It's been kind to me. So I think I can go to the well one more time and take Washington with the extra head start. The final game here is a 10:10 Eastern first pitch. The Milwaukee Brewers at the LA Dodgers, where Corbin Burns will go for Milwaukee. And Tony Gonsolin, with that 15-1 record, will go for the LA Dodgers. The lines are Milwaukee plus 136. The LA Dodgers -158. Total here is set at 7. Noah, probably the best game of the night. What have you got for us?
Patrick.
Oh, has he slotted his third of the night? It's his third beat of the evening. Well played. Gets to keep the match ball. Terrible. Well done. Beautiful. Air punches all round.
All right. So let's get the show back on the road. Yes.
It's a shambles.
This one is appointment television, guys. Milwaukee Brewers, LA Dodgers. The Dodgers are unanimously power ranked #1 team in the MLB. They take on their second Cy Young hopeful in the last 4 games. They buried Sandy Alcantara for 6 runs and 4.2 innings on 10 hits. Is the Grim Reaper now knocking on Corbin Burns' door? He's 9-5 with a 2.48 ERA, 187 strikeouts, 40 walks, and 148.2 innings pitched. In Burns' last appearance, he did face this Dodgers team, and he got touched up for 3 runs and 6.2 on 6 hits. For the Dodgers, Tony Gonsolin gets the ball. He's 15-1, 2.12 ERA, 113 strikeouts, 33 walks, and 123.1 innings pitched. Gonsolin's last start was also against this Brewers team, and he's 15-1. So it's hard to believe when I say this, but Tony G's best start of the season was against this Brewers team. 7 frames, 8 punchies, 1 free pass, 2 knocks, no runs. Give me the Doyers, compadre.
Love that. You've been upgraded to a buffoon with all capital letters now, by the way. That's one step up from the level of buffoonery you hit before. Moonaf, Brewers at the Dodgers.
Yeah, Corbin Burns, despite I'll filter this down to last season because prior to 2019, I don't think that's relevant data that we can use. But he's 1-1, but he has an ERA of 7.04 against his Dodgers team. And I know there's one start last year where he only lasted 2 innings and allowed 3 earned runs to the Dodgers. In his last start, like we mentioned, the team did pick up the W, but he also did allow 3 earned runs to the Dodgers in that last game last week. Corbin Burns is also better on the road for the Milwaukee Brewers. So if you kind of take a look at the splits on the road, 4-2 with a 1.94 ERA, at home 5-3 with a 2.96 ERA. Still stellar numbers, but he just does better on the road for whatever reason. And again, no one mentioned there, Tony Gonsolin has just been lights out this season, especially at home. 8-2 with a 1.95 ERA. Stellar outing against the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. Now he's back at home in Dodger Stadium. Last start, 7 shutout innings, only allowed 2 hits. I like the under in this game. I think that this might be another one of those games where we see a 2-1, 3-0, 3-1, 3-2 type of final. So under 7 for me in this game between the Brewers and the Dodgers with Burns and Gonsolin on the mound.
Yeah, I'm going to take that under 7 as well. I feel like a bit of a stuck record here because I keep going on about these Brewers bats, and it's probably a little bit unfair because actually they stung me a couple of times last week, and even if the games they lost against the Chicago Cubs, they didn't manage to put some runs up. But yeah, this just looks like a pitching duel. So obviously the Dodgers are capable of taking anyone to the cleaners, but Burns is top class. So I would like an extra half a run on that line. So maybe have to shop around a little bit. But other than that, we might have to take a push. But yeah, 7 seems a lot. So give me the under I will concur with Munaf on the Brewers versus the Dodgers. We have made it to the end of what seemed like about 48 games that we've just handicapped. Lock and dog picks to come momentarily after I briefly told you firstly about Babbel, who is a language learning app. I think most of us learned in air quotes a second language in high school. I am a beautiful French speaker with an incredible accent. I did also, however, learn Russian at school. I took Russian exams and I could not tell you a word of it. So I don't know what's going on with my brain, that all the French stuck and all the Russians disappeared. But thanks to Babbel, the language learning app has sold more than 10 million subscriptions. That's a really fun and easy way to learn a new language. So if you're traveling abroad or you want to connect in a deeper way with some family, or you just want to learn a new skill, Babbel teaches bite-sized language lessons that you'll use in the real world. Babbel has 15-minute lessons, which make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. Loads of different ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can access podcast, games, video stories, and even live classes. So there will be a way to learn that suits you. Right now, you can save up to 60% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's Babbel, BABBEL.com/SGP. Up to 60% off your subscription. Babbel is language for life. And finally, Elias. Already talked about the NFL season being right around the corner, really exciting type of year. And if you're a DJ, which I assume you are listening to this junk, we recommend the Elias Game Plan app, which is the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for NFL, as well as NBA and MLB. Elias is the most trusted name in sports stats. The Elias Sports Bureau are the official statisticians of all the US pro sports leagues, including the NFL. So you will get player news, league validated player stats, expert game analysis, player previews to help you through your preseason stuff. What you need to do is download the Elias Game Plan app. Loads of new features which will take your game to the next level. NFL season is right around the corner, so don't wait. Find the Elias Game Plan in the App Store or Play Store today. Okay, Noah and Munaf, that was epic. And now we need to make some picks and keep this little roll that we're on going. We'll come across to you first, Munaf. What have you got for us?
Oh, man. Let's see here. All right. So I see that some lines were posted for the Blue Jays and the Red Sox game. But let me start with my lock here. I'm going to go with the Colorado Rockies -125 on the money line with Herman Marquez on the mound going up against Dane Dunning. We mentioned when we talked about Dunning this season, back him at home and fade him on the road. And I think this is just a spot where the Rangers are in a difficult situation. They go from Minnesota into altitude to take on the Rockies. And Dane Dunning's numbers just have not been very good on the road. And I think this is a spot where the Colorado Rockies can come out on top, even with Herman Marquez on the mound. So I'll take the Rockies -125 on the money line as my lock. For my dog, give me the Toronto Blue Jays on the run line, -1.5 +115. Ross Stripling has been pretty good against the Red Sox this season. This is going to be his fourth start, so he's familiar with this team. Also, Josh Winkowski just has not been good for the Red Sox. And, this Toronto Blue Jays team, like I said, are trying and slowly trying to claw their way into that AL East lead. Despite the Yankees now only, I think it's a 7 or 8 game lead, but I feel like that they're breathing down their necks, or as Malcolm likes to say, their footsteps are approaching. I think, again, the Red Sox just have not been in good form. I do like the Toronto Blue Jays here to take care of business against the Red Sox. So I'll take the Blue Jays -1.5 +115 as my dog of the day. Okay,
solid, Munaf. Noah, what have you got?
All right, for my lock, I'm going to that Colorado game, but I'm taking the over 11. It's set high for a reason. You look at Dane Dunning, his number one pitch is a sinker 41% of the time. Also loves throwing the changeup 21% of the time. They lose 3 inches of drop on both those pitches in the high altitude of Coors Field. Also, Herman Marquez has a 5.92 ERA inside Coors Field. So love the over in the Rockies and Rangers game. And going over we're fading Tony Liber's squad. We're going with the Baltimore W's instead of the O's. Just they play very well at home. Fourth best bullpen in the MLB. Give me the Birds.
Okay. My picks will be a total for my lock is going to be the over 8.5 in the Arizona Kansas City games. We've spelled this out. I think Munaf noticeably spelled out why this is going to go over. He reckoned over 6 in the first 5 innings. It means we'll easily get to this 8.5. He's going to give up loads by himself, and Davis will chip in 3 or 4 too. So over 8.5 at Kansas City as they take on Arizona. And for my dog, this is our Karate Kid moment, Munaf. This is me waxing on, waxing off with the LA Angels first 5 at the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow. Tomorrow, I put into practice everything you have taught me, and I'll take the Angels first 5 in that one as my dog. And an epic show is coming to an end. I don't think we need a long goodbye after everything we've just put in. Noah, thank you very much. It's been fun. Little tip of the cap from Noah. That's great for all the listeners. I bet they really enjoyed that. Munaf, thanks very much. You.
Noah with a rare hat trick coming into tonight.
It was terrible. Okay, I'm watching this Little League game right now, and of course it's Little League, but seriously, like Taipei, I was hoping that they would drop a game and then Hawaii wouldn't have to play them in the final. Japan's already gone. They went 2-barbecue. So Hawaii is now the best team left in Williamsport. And I mean, it's just a carousel. Panama is making error after error against Taipei. So it's going to be Chinese Taipei and Hawaii in the final. I'm calling it right now. Hawaii plays tonight against your boys, Munaf.
We'll talk offline.
Yeah. 2-barbecue is a good phrase. I'll use that. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for getting in the chat. Good luck with all your bets. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.